welcome back to another video. I'm Charlie, and today, after 2 months, I will finally be releasing my first ever video of 2020. Probably wondering why I've been gone for so long and why I've only been doing streams in the past 2 months. Well, I've been a lot busier than I've expected, and I've had a lot of things going on, and I've also been distracted and kind of lazy with YouTube. But today I've just finally decided that I'm going to be starting making videos again. Well, anyway, with that all out of the way, let's begin the video. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is my VCF East 2020 exhibit. Now, if you don't know what VCF East is, or what VCF is, it's basically the Vintage Computer Festival. And what they do is they're basically a bunch of exhibits that happen every year in multiple locations around America and the world. And basically what you do is you can exhibit your collection or exhibit at this festival during a certain period of time. And it was a whole lot of fun. I've put the link to the event page in the description below. So yeah, so basically what I'm going to be exhibiting this year at VCF East 2020 is this exhibit right here. Now this exhibit I'm going to be calling Failed Mac Concepts and Ideas. And basically what this exhibit is about is it's about a bunch of Apple's failed products or products that should have failed, why they were good for Apple, why they were bad for Apple, what they turned into in the future, why they were innovative, a lot of stuff like that. Basically what this exhibit is about, it's supposed to be like a fun way to go back in time and take a look at Apple's forgotten and obscure and interesting computers that never exactly made it in the market and that have been proven to be very innovative for the time. But there are reasons why these failed, and there are reasons why they were good. And this isn't supposed to be a way to like go after Apple and say, oh, this product sucks, or oh, this product was never good and should have never been a thing. No, and it's not really insulting either. It's just a really interesting way to just show off the different kinds of things that Apple was doing in the 90s. And these are all the computers and accessories I'm going to be demonstrating. So let us begin the tour. Alright, so the first device we're going to be taking a look at is the iMac G3. But not the iMac G3 itself, but actually the hockey puck mouse. So whether or not the hockey puck mouse failed or not is debatable, but the pros and cons pretty much even out, so I decided to add it here. The puck was released alongside the iMac G3 in 1998. It originally came out in Bondi Blue to match the original iMac, however it would later gain 5 additional colors to match the 5 flavors in 1999. It lasted 2 years before it was replaced with the more traditional oval-shaped Pro mouse. So why did I put it here, and why do I think it failed? Well, the hockey puck didn't fail in terms of sales, and it was bundled with Apple's most successful products from the late 90s and early 2000s. The problem was that people didn't like it. It had a new circular design, and it was different to the traditional oval design that people were used to making it awkward. So for some people to use. It also used a trackball technology instead of the increasingly popular laser technology that was getting popular at the time, making the design a bit old-fashioned. Most people ended up replacing it with a better USB mouse or adding plastic shells to the mouse to make the shape more comfortable. Apple would replace it 2 years later with the Pro mouse that had a better shape, used a laser instead of a trackball. Alright, so the next computer I'm going to be exhibiting is the Macintosh Color Classic. So since the beginning of the Mac, Apple's compact Mac line consisted of many variations and models. The entire product line was pretty successful overall, but they all had one thing in common. They all used the same 9-inch black and white screen from the Macintosh 128K in 1984 to the Macintosh Classic 2 in 1991. The design was dated at that point, so Apple decided to update the lineup with the Macintosh Color Classic in 1993. Technically, it didn't fail in terms of sales, despite its major flaws. So what caused it to fail? One of the biggest problems of the Color Classic that it faced was it was extremely underpowered. To give you an idea of how fast it was outperformed by the Macintosh TV and SE30. Despite the main issue, there were several more. Most people didn't find the small 12-inch display appealing as it was too small to actually get any work done. It was also too expensive, being priced at $1,390 and you compared it to the LC3, a similar system, it would only come out to about $750 plus the fee of a monitor, which was still cheaper than the Color Classic. The LC3 was also more than twice as fast as the Color Classic, and you could choose various monitors. In 1993, Apple released the Macintosh TV, which is the third computer I'm going to be exhibiting. It was basically an LC520 in an exclusive black case, but with a few new features. It had a built-in TV tuner, coaxial and composite inputs, and a remote control. The Macintosh TV was one of the first computers Apple ever released with TV functionalities, and may have been the worst-selling product Apple has ever come out with. The Macintosh TV has too many flaws for it to even be considered reasonable. It had no expansion slots on the rear, as the TV tuner took up all the room for starters. It also had very poor performance to try and make it as cheap as possible with all the added features it already had. One of the other things that people complained about is that you couldn't use it at the TV functionalities and the computer functionalities at the same time. It had two different modes, meaning you could either use it as a mediocre TV set or a highly underpowered computer. The price was the worst part. At $2,097, it basically turned off all of its potential buyers. As a result, it was only on sale for 4 months and only 10,000 units were ever made. Alright, so the next one is the Macintosh Portrait Display. So the Portrait Display was a 15-inch vertical grayscale display designed for Macintosh 2 systems like the 2CX, 2CI, 2SI, a few others. It was aimed towards writers and publishers, and it was the exact size of an A4 sheet of paper, which is just a regular sheet of paper. This display took full advantage of the "what you see is what you get" interface the Mac used, making it very easy to preview documents before printing them. So the reason why it failed was Apple wasn't the first company to think of a vertical display. The problem with it was that the other companies have already been selling vertical displays prior to Apple. One example would be Radius. They'd already been making affordable displays for Macintosh systems, which brought Apple some serious competition. It started at $1,099 and cost an additional $599 for a special video card that used the same uncommon 13W3 connector and supported the odd resolution of the display. Meanwhile, Radius dropped their display price to $895 when Apple released their display. Radius would later release a color portrait display and even a pivot display that could switch from portrait to landscape. Apple's portrait display would be discontinued in 1992 with no further attempts of bringing it back. Alright, so the next computer we're going to be looking at is the PowerBook Duo and the PowerBook Duo Dock. Now, the PowerBook Duo was a line of smaller, lightweight, and lower performance sub-notebooks first introduced in 1992. At the time, it was a very slim and portable computer. However, Apple had to make some serious design compromises to make it work. Their solution to this issue was to create a line of various docking stations to be sold with the PowerBook Duo, increasing its functionality. The Duo floppy adapter, the Duo mini dock, and the full-size Duo dock. So the reason why it failed is, as I stated before, Apple had to make many design compromises with the Duo's design. The I/O was pitiful, only having a modem, serial, and docking connector. Some people said that the screen was too small, and earlier models had black and white screens, making it worse. More people complained about the size and the keyboard. It was too small and wonky to use and was known for being very unreliable. In simpler terms, it was basically today's butterfly keyboard of 1992. It also didn't have a floppy drive, which was a huge deal back then. Lastly, all the accessories and additional docks confused most buyers, causing them to buy multiple docks. This made the Duo an expensive investment, leading to its downfall 2 years later. So the last product for my exhibit will be the Apple Newton. So the Apple Newton was Apple's attempt of entering the PDA market in 1993. The Newton came out in various models, specs, and case types, but they all did the same thing. You could connect a Newton to a Mac or PC from the time period to sync/add files and apps. You could also connect the Newton to a modem for dial-up, and you could also connect it to a printer and print documents. So the reason why it failed was the Apple Newton started out pretty poorly. It wasn't well designed, had a lot of interesting features that mostly didn't work in early revisions. The biggest flaws of the Newton faced that was the autocorrect and handwriting recognition. Most of the time, the Newton would scramble up and confuse words, which gave it a very bad reputation. Even though Apple revised the Newton, it made a lot better in later revisions.
people would tend to avoid it in favor of other superior PDAs from other companies, and the starting price of $700 and up, people thought it was too expensive. It did do better as the years progressed, however it wasn't enough as Steve Jobs would kill the Newton line first at his return.
Alright, so now that I've gone into depth about the exhibit, now I'm going to be showing you the software that these computers will be running at the exhibit. Because as I said before, I'm not sure if I did say it before, but I really want this stream to be very interactive, and people usually seem to like interactive exhibits, and they're a lot of fun, so that's what I'm going to be trying to do. I'm trying to make it as interactive as possible. So starting off with the iMac G3, the interactive software that it's going to be having is a game of Brickles. I'm hoping to find, I mainly chose this game because it takes full advantage of the puck mouse so that people could get the full experience of the beautiful puck mouse. And I'm hoping to find some more games in the future that involve the puck mouse. And if you do have some, let me know in the description what you had in mind, and I'll try them out and download them from the Macintosh Garden or something. So yeah, all we really have is Brickles Plus. It's just a regular breakout game, and gets faster and more difficult as you play. And yeah, so that is Brickles Plus. So the next thing we're going to be taking a look at is the Color Classic. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do much with the Color Classic, as the hockey puck mice exhibit is kind of in the way of any keyboards or mice or anything. I might rearrange the exhibit later on if I really do want this to have anything interesting on it, but for now, it's just going to be this. So what I have on this computer is it's basically just like a custom After Dark screensaver. I use the multi-module feature to create this. So basically this top part up here is the Satori screensaver, which does an excellent job at displaying the 256 color graphics that this Color Classic has. And then at the bottom it's just a VCF 2020 thing. And I thought it looked pretty cool. So and it does change colors too, in combination with the screensaver. So that's all this is going to be doing. If I really want to, I might actually just set this up with like Origin Trail and keyboard if I really want to. But the chances of that happening are kind of unlikely. But I'm hoping that maybe I'll try to do that, and maybe I'll just remove the keyboard for the iMac G3 altogether, just in favor of hockey puck mice. But we'll have to see later on. So next up is the Macintosh TV, and for the Macintosh TV I decided to get a little creative. So I decided to hook up this original PlayStation 1 to it, using the TV functionalities. And I thought this was a pretty cool idea as like a way to demonstrate that it does actually have TV functionalities, because you wouldn't regularly be able to attach a PlayStation to it. So what I plan on doing is using Gran Turismo 1 as like a demo game, and I'm going to have a controller out and stuff, and people will be able to play it a bit and stuff, in just like a quick demo mode or something. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And in the middle of the exhibit, I might actually just switch it back to computer mode just to confuse a couple people who haven't been paying attention, because it is possible, as you can see here, because you can just go back and forth to different modes and go back to where you've left off, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that is the Macintosh TV. Finally, the Duo Dock, Portrait Display, and MessagePad 120. So what I'm planning on doing is hooking both of these devices up to the ImageWriter 2. Mainly the Portrait Display, because I'm going to have open an Adobe Photoshop, or maybe like Mac Paint or MacWrite or something like that, where people can either write or draw whatever they want, and they'll be able to print it with the ImageWriter 2 here. And I've already tested it and everything works, and this thing uses regular printer paper, but what I plan on doing is getting a box of dot matrix printer paper so that it comes in like a continuous strand, because putting more paper in this is a bit of a pain. So I'm going to see if I can try getting a box of dot matrix paper. I'm also going to see if it's possible to hook up the MessagePad 120 to it as well, because it does have printer capabilities, and it would be pretty cool if people like drew pictures with the stylus or whatever. but otherwise I haven't really gotten anything for the Newton yet, but I am thinking about it. I also do want to mention that I'm also going to have a couple manuals out for people to take a look at, like the Duodoc manual, which is pretty cool. Like, it's got stuff like tells you how to do things, and also tells you how to take it apart, which is really neat as well, which is right here. So, and then also the image writer owner's manual, because sometimes even I forget how to use it. So, yeah, but that'll conclude conclude the interactive parts of the exhibit, though. One last thing I want to mention. The exhibit is not finished, and I still have a few other things that I want to add to it and do. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a bunch of like cue cards or like just little plaques to for each thing. And they're just basically going to go into a description about why these failed and just like the general information, just like the all the stuff and the history behind them. And why they didn't do too well, and why I put them here. I also have to fix some issues with these two computers here. So the Macintosh Color Classic and the Macintosh TV, they both need a board recap, a logic board recap, and possibly an analog board recap, because the Macintosh TV has leaky caps, and I don't want it to get worse, and so does the Color Classic. And the Macintosh TV does have a few analog issues that I might have to fix with a recap. I also want to try to get some dot matrix printer paper for the image writer too, because it does use regular A4 sheets of paper, but it's really annoying to have to load them in because you have to get them at the precise angle, do all this other stuff. So I think it would just be easier to have a continuous feed, and plus dot matrix printer paper is only like $20. So that'll cover my VCF exhibit for the VCF 2020. I'm really excited to go, and if any of you plan on going, I suggest saying hi to me or maybe taking a look at my exhibit. There's also going to be a lot of other cool exhibits that are pretty cool as well. And just in general, if you have a VCF near you and there's an event happening pretty soon, then I suggest taking a look, because they're pretty fun. You can spend like all day just looking at stuff like this. And I definitely had a lot of fun when I went a couple of years ago. So that's why I'm going to go back this year. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy. And if you have any suggestions, comments, complaints, or questions, leave a comment in the comment section down below. And if you like the video, please press the like button. Or if you didn't like it, just press the dislike button. If you are interested in seeing some more of my content, I suggest subscribing so you won't miss another upload. So yeah, that'll do it. Thanks for watching, and see you all at VCF East.